weekly Coaches News Conference on KLPS TV is brought to you by Hawthorne Bank, a proud sponsor of Liberty School District. At Hawthorne Bank, we understand the importance of strong community in a strong school district. We also understand the importance of strong financial future for our school district's families and for our local businesses. Hawthorne Bank, with you every step. And by Jackson Hewitt. For all your tax needs, personal or business, rely on tax professionals at Jackson Hewitt and Liberty, a full-service tax preparation professional. Jackson Hewitt.
Good morning, guys. We had a busy week last week with the game versus or the CW's Testament tournament here at Liberty High. We dropped our first game in St. Joe Central, and then were able to bounce back and get a couple nice victories, especially against Olathe East in the semi, or I guess it'd be I guess you'd call it the semi-round. It's a good club and a team that we've struggled with when we've seen them in the past, and so that was a really good win for us. They're 8-3 on the year and played some quality opponents. So I think that as the season goes and we look back on that win, it'll feel pretty good for us. But it was busy. 3 games in 3 days is a lot, and I thought the way that we played the third game against Raytown was kind of symbolic of that. I didn't think we played particularly well, but part of the reason I think was because we were tired. I think the 3 games just kind of wore us down a little bit. But like I told the guys, that's just excuses. Really doesn't mean much. So. Busy week this week with conference, opening conference play tonight at Platte County, and then Kearney comes into our place on Friday. And then just so you all know, in addition to the conference game, the home conference game on Friday, we're doing a bunch of activities with Coaches versus Cancer. Raise some money, dinner will be served starting at 4 o'clock from Chick-fil-A. So you pay for some dinner and that money goes towards Coach versus Cancer. We have different people, upwards of 12, 15 people that we'll recognize for different things. Members of our school board should be there, or we're hopeful will be there to recognize them. Just a night that's going to have a lot of things to recognize a lot of people for a good cause. And then also the game will be televised on Metro Sports, so another opportunity for some good exposure for our program. But last thing before I open up for questions, I said this when I was talking to Kylie, but the passing of Jack last week was really sad for our community. Sad for a lot of people. Jack meant a lot to a lot of people, me included. And there's not enough time to tell the stories of Jack that I'd like to tell. We've got a ton of them, and he'll be remembered forever around our community. But thoughts and prayers from our basketball family go out to his as well. So, with that, open it up to questions. Thanks.
After losing to St. Joe Central, how are you able to get your team to bounce back and be able to win that?
What's so amazing, Jackson, is sometimes in coaching you realize how, I don't want to say dumb, but how not smart you are. Because we spend all this time preparing our guys, going over scouting reports, watching a bunch of tape, and we've got this mastermind plan of how we're going to beat a team. So we've got it all planned out. We go and we get beat versus St. Joe Central. Well, then we come back and we have no time to prep because it's the next day. So if we would have won and had played at 7, I would have brought the guys in after school and we would have watched some tape and gone over a report, but we lost. And then we got to play Olathe East, who in my opinion might have been the best team in the tournament. Now, subject to debate because, they didn't win, but one of the most talented teams in the tournament. So I'm nervous because I feel like we can't prepare our guys. We don't have a scouting report. We didn't have time to practice. We didn't have time to... Well, then we come out and we play well. So what did we do to get our team ready? Not much. They just You know, they just kind of grouped together and said, you know, we don't want to have this feeling again. And we got a competitive group. We got guys that care about winning and care about each other. But, you know, it's just funny because you spend all this time, you know, getting this plan ready, and then, you know, we didn't execute it at all on Thursday. And so I'm nervous about how we're going to play on Friday. And I told a couple people when they asked, I said, you know, I think honestly we'll have to play our best game of the year to beat Olathe East, and with no time to prep and no scouting report, we played our best game of the year. So some of my guys would probably tell you that means that we shouldn't practice anymore, and they should just be able to roll the balls out and play. But we won't do that. But I was just really proud of how they bounced back. That was on them. You know, the coaches win or lose the first game of the tournament, and the players usually win the second because of time and prep, and it was certainly our players that won that second game. Well, I thought that if you watched us play on Thursday and then you watched us play on Saturday, you kind of saw a team that was just a little bit more in sync offensively. You know, we went, and it's all excuses, but, you know, we went basically 3 gaps of 9 days without playing. So our rhythm and our flow offensively was not very good at all. So the improvement that we made, just being a little bit more consistent on offense, is something that we'll take from it. And the second part of the answer is this. You get the confidence offensively, but then you got the game speed aspect of it, and things just feel a little bit better because, you know, you can practice it and go against, you know, guys so often, but then actually getting out there against competition, maybe guarded a different way than you're used to, will help us adjust. So, you know, offensively, I think we got in a better flow. Defensively, you know, we really guarded the second and third night. First night we were okay. And then, you know, so it's just our little improvements here and there. But offensively, our rhythm and our confidence is something that we'll certainly take.
Jake Hansen won the leadership award. What do you think made him deserving of that?
Well, you know, what doesn't make Jake deserving? Jake's the best, man. You know, we got a group of guys who are pretty darn special, and Jake's certainly atop that group. He, you know, he just does a little bit of everything for us. Great guy. You know, has the respect of the staff, the coaches respect him, has the respect of his teammates, has the respect of the opponents. You know, they know how good of a player he is. But, you know, Jake just carries himself in a way that has never, ever come across arrogant or cocky, but has come across confident, and our team feeds off that because, you know, he's the point guard. He's the guy that everybody kind of looks to. But he, you know, to win that award for Jake, you know, I think if I do this right, his last year at Jewel, he would have won the Hustle Award at Jewel. This year, he was on the all-tournament team at our place and at Jewel, and then he won the Leadership Award here. So, you know, it just kind of shows you how special of a guy he is and how good of a player he is. And, you know, Jake could sit up here, and if you asked him the question, he'd probably look down at the ground and say he's happy for the team or something. He would never brag about it or be excited about it, but he should. He's as good as they come.
You've kind of had a wacky schedule with games the past couple weeks. How's it kind of affect your team to get back to kind of a normal pace?
Well, I'm excited to get back to the normal Tuesday, Friday because, I mean, I think, and you know, it's excuses, but you know, when you're what are we, 11-4, you can't make a lot of excuses. But you know, you play on the 18th of December, and then you don't play again until the 27th, and then you play 3 games in 3 days. You play 27, 28, 29. And then you don't play again until the 8th. So, you know, you got 8-9 days. And then after you play on the 8th, you don't play again until the 17th. And, you know, basketball's not a sport that's supposed to be played that spread out. It's supposed to be played more consistently and with better rhythm because, you know, you need some time off for fatigue. But Jackson, you know, I don't know if anybody else has had the kind of schedule we've had with those time frames off, because then you spend time in practice working on stuff and you think it's what you need to work on, but maybe it's not because you haven't evaluated your team in the last 4 or 5 days. You think you know what it is because you see them every day at practice, but I don't know. I don't want to say that it'll help and it'll fix things, but I certainly think it'll go towards and be closer to getting us into a rhythm and making us play a little bit more consistent. Because if we can't start playing more consistent Tuesday, Friday, 2 days of practice, 3 days of practice, then play, then we got other issues. But this will help us. Playing Tuesday, Friday will really help us.
You mentioned how when you take those breaks, you practice things that you may not be what you see in games. Have you seen anything from the Stutzman tournament that you haven't thought you saw in your team?
Really good question. Some of our breakdowns that we've had in games are, for lack of a better way to say it, are guys just forgetting what the heck's going on and being in the wrong spot or not focusing. And maybe sometimes you see that in practice, but it's not as magnified as it is during a game. So what we saw in the Stutzman tournament that's going to help us as a staff is some guys' playing time, some guys' roles, some guys' value might change a little bit because we've seen them now more consistently in a game. We're 15 games in, and so, best case scenario, you get down to the Final Four. I mean, you're halfway through your season. So we're more than halfway through our season, in my opinion, and some guys have got to start playing a little bit better. Some guys have got to start, kind of fitting into their value and their role a little bit more. And then what playing 3 games in 3 days does is that exposes it a little bit. So just making sure that we're putting guys as a staff in the right position, because it's not our guys' fault that they're struggling or not making plays. I mean, I've never met a player who's tried to screw up, but maybe there's certain things we're asking guys to do that they can't. And so evaluate that and make sure that we make the necessary adjustments.
Can you talk a little bit about the conference teams that you're facing?
Yeah, it's funny, there's a huge conference game tonight, and if I said that, everybody think UK State in the Big 12, but, Platte County is who we open with, and they've struggled big time this year. They're 2-14 on the year, and, struggled to score and struggled to defend, but, when you've won some games and, you've had some success, I don't think anybody wants to, knock you off more than Platte County does, because it'd help kind of get them going. So we'll have to be ready. We'll have to be really ready to play them. And then Kearney on Friday is, they're just tough as nails. They got 7-8 guys that play really, really hard and are tough and are physical. They got 3 guys, 2 starters, Starzl 50 and Owen's 50 and Starzl 40 that, they're huge. They're 6'5", 6'6", and big and strong. And then they got a nice little sophomore guard, Moline, that will really develop into be a nice player. And, Gary does a great job with them. So, and then, you don't want to look too far ahead, but to answer your question, then you go on the road, Ray South and Grandview next Tuesday, Friday, 2 teams that preseason-wise were picked towards the top of our league. So you start out with a team that's 2-14, and in my opinion worries me as much as the other teams do, because if you're not ready to play, they got nothing to lose. They get some confidence going, and they've got some good players, and they've won a lot of games the past 3-4 years. And so it's not like this is a program that's been down, or it's just a team that's struggling this year, and they're inserting and playing a bunch of different guys to try to get into a flow. So our conference will prepare us for our postseason, because I think our conference is really, really good, and teams that we'll see in the postseason are probably on the level of the teams that we'll see in our conference. I'll finish up, with just saying thank you all for last week televising and how hard you all worked to broadcast those games for us. Ann and Katie and the work that they do for you guys, and then you guys, on the ground floor, getting all the work done, and it's really neat. There's a lot of people who get exposure and get to see things because of the work that you guys do, and just know that our staff and our players really appreciate what you guys do because it provides them some pretty cool experiences. So hope you all have a good week, and look forward to talking to you next Tuesday.
The weekly Coaches